Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel if you're new here, and today we're going to be talking about traits that attract women. According to science, women are obviously attracted to certain features that men have. This is nothing new here, the same way that you guys are naturally attracted to features that women have. Again, nothing new, but don't get it twisted. This is not all that matters when it comes to attraction and what women look for. There is far more to consider than how chiseled your abs and jawline are. I promise. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about traits that attract women. Step number 1, don't call yourself an alpha male. You heard it here first. So before we get into the video, I talk a lot on my channel about confidence, and when it comes to intimacy, we all want to feel confident. But for a lot of guys, erectile dysfunction gets in the way. This issue obviously affects people differently, but this is something that over 52% of men will experience. More men experience ED than not. If this sounds like something you've dealt with, I recommend finding a solution with today's sponsor. Roman is a digital health clinic for men that can connect you directly with a licensed U.S. healthcare professional for a free telehealth consultation from the privacy of your own home. Roman provides its effective FDA-approved treatments for ED-all treatments. Depend on gaining a prescription after a medical evaluation by a doctor or nurse practitioner on the Roman platform. The initial online visit and all follow-ups are free doses, start as low as $2, and it's incredibly convenient and affordable. Shipping is also free and always discreet. Roman also deals with premature ejaculation, hair loss, and more concerns for men. So if you think this is something that will help you, head to getroman.com, Courtney, to complete your consultation and find out if this is the right treatment for you. By using my link, you will get 15 off your first month of ED treatment, which benefits us both. Again, that's getroman.com, Courtney. All right, so I'm going to go through a couple of traits, and then I'm actually going to go through an article with you guys at the end. We're going to see what science says about attracting women. Number 1, direct and decisive. Direct, decisive. Women love a man who can take the lead. Be direct, take charge. I know it probably seems like we don't because of social media and everyone acting like we don't like that, but we do. Being direct shows confidence and security in yourself. And being direct is very different than being aggressive. I think a lot of times people talk about toxic masculinity, and being direct is seen as a bad thing because people think that it means that you're aggressive, but that is not true at all. Confident men are able to pursue women and go after what they want. A guy who goes after what he wants is sexy. And almost all girls that are into guys want to be pursued. Being direct includes honesty, authenticity, and being able to express yourself assertively. Again, assertively and aggressively are very different things. When a guy takes the lead and initiative, it makes the girl feel safe and secure and allows her to embrace her femininity. Of course, women have to put in the work too. And I'm not saying that you guys should be bending over backwards for someone who isn't willing to do that for you too. But it's sexy and attractive when a man puts effort in and shows interest. Women are drawn to confidence, a sense of humor, and success, all of which require a man to be direct, straightforward, and open. Women like a man who leads plain and simple. Protect number 2, we have protect women like to feel safe. As I mentioned, physically, mentally, and emotionally, I want to feel secure. Said every woman ever. And I've said in past videos that women like to feel secure, and this is why women often go for someone who is financially independent or financially stable, because they want that security factor when it comes to money, even if she is well off financially on her own. And this, my friends, is where hypergamy comes into play, and I've done an entire video about it. If you want to go check it out, I think I explained things a little bit further than I will here today. But generally speaking here, this is a huge reason why women tend to go after men who are financially independent, who are financially stable, even if they make enough money on their own, because they want their partner to be as well. Now, this is not the only reason why women go after men who are financially stable. There's a big difference between wanting to feel safe and secure in a relationship and, build your wealth together, and only going after someone because of their wealth. There are gold diggers out there, and there's a huge difference between the two that I'm talking about here. Evolutionary psychologists say this is because women want a man who can provide for them, just to break it down plain and simple here. And I also want to highlight that there's far more that goes into this protect category here than just finances. Again, this is also physically and emotionally. I don't want you guys to think that finances are the only way that you can protect someone, especially in today's day and age. That makes absolutely no sense when a woman is able to make enough money for herself. I think a lot more goes into it than just what you can provide for someone financially. Are you loyal? Are you trustworthy? Are you a man of integrity? I mean, there are so many different things that fall into this, and those are the traits that make men attractive to women. It's not just being rich or having the most money in the world. Of course, those men probably do find it easier with women because there are women out there who are only looking for that and who only care about that. But generally speaking here, when we're not just talking about the gold diggers of the world, women want to feel safe physically, emotionally, and financially. And it's important to be able to provide a balance of all of those and not just finances. I know that times are changing and things are changing and people probably have mixed feelings about this one, but I think our evolutionary past continues to bring us to this point of wanting to feel safe and secure and protected by our partner, even though we are able to provide a lot of those things for ourselves. Number purpose 3 is purpose, and purpose is what oozes confidence. And it's not necessarily about what your purpose is. It's more about just having a purpose. A guy who is striving to be his best self and reaches full potential is attractive. And 100 stands out to women. This could be in regards to your physical fitness. Getting a degree, starting a business, whatever it might be. Live your life with a purpose, not only to attract women here. This is just for yourself in general. And this is what I honestly think makes men more attractive to women, is when they become better versions of themselves. When you are a better you are better for everyone around you. When I'm a better me, I'm better for not only myself, but also everyone in my life, including all of you. You become a better partner, a better friend, and just a better person in general. Be a man with a plan and understand that having a purpose creates confidence. It builds your self-esteem. It creates discipline. When you create discipline and you keep promises that you make to yourself, you boost your confidence and your self-esteem. And again, you become a better you for everyone around you and yourself. And intelligence. Number 4. Intelligence knowledge is power. Again, this is nothing new here. Intelligence is sexy. It's attractive. When a guy knows what he's doing and knows what he's talking about, if you can bring something to a conversation, whether it be passing on knowledge, the curiosity to learn about what the other person is talking about, it makes you more interesting and magnetic to them, which in return leads to a better and more meaningful conversation that she's going to walk away from feeling like you are the bee's knees. So while I was doing research for this video, I found something that was really interesting, and I wanted to share it with all of you. So it says, according to a 2007 study performed in Germany, men placed far greater importance on the attractiveness of their mates than females. And while women were still drawn to attractive men, they were more likely to consider dating less attractive individuals if they possessed other qualities. They prized another study. This time in 2013 demonstrated that mate selection among women is highly contextual in the experiment. Men and women were told to evaluate one another's attractiveness during a speed dating event. The results showed that women with higher BMI's body mass index or lower facial attractiveness were less selective than their thinner, more attractive counterparts. Furthermore, these women became even less selective when there were more attractive females in the room. In this case, it was her attractiveness, not his, that influenced her selection. I thought that was so interesting. While looks are important to women, they typically base their mate selection on more contextual factors. Surprising examples include the availability of competition and their estimates of their own attractiveness, which I thought was so interesting because I always get the comments of, women care more about looks than men do. And I think it comes across that way often because women seem to have far more options than men do, especially when we're talking about things like online dating or, social media in general. I do think that online dating and social media have increased the importance of attractiveness. But generally speaking, I really do think that women think about other things more so than the way that a man looks, and look being attractive definitely helps you find a partner again, especially because looks are becoming more important. as we spend more time on dating websites and social media, where the way that someone looks is like the first thing you notice, and you don't really have a lot of other things to go off of besides the way that someone looks physically. You know, your first impression when you're online is much different than it would be if you're meeting someone in person. When you're in person, you get to experience someone's mannerisms and their personality, and they can be more charismatic in other ways, and you're noticing things that go farther than just the way that they look. So this is another reason why I think it's so much better for you guys to be meeting people in person versus online. Because unless you are a very attractive person online or you take incredibly good photos, it's tough out there. And I understand that as a woman. And so I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that looks don't help, but I will sit here and be honest with you and say that they are not everything, especially if we're talking about meeting someone in person. And I've had the question come up a lot of, what do women care more about, looks game or status? And I would argue that looks are at the bottom of the list again. If we're talking about in-person interactions, when you're thinking about something that's online, obviously looks are going to be at the top of the list, looks and wealth probably. And then once you get your foot in the door, then the game comes into play where you can kind of banter and go back and forth and all of that. I just think the whole thing is really interesting. I'm very into human interaction and why we think the way we do and why we are attracted to certain people and why we aren't attracted to other people. So it's really interesting for me to talk about in videos like this. So I also found this article that I want to go through with all of you. So this article, Science is 9 Science-Backed Ways Men Can Appear More Attractive to Women. The first one is look for the universal signs of flirtation. Rutgers University anthropologist and best-selling author Helen E. Fisher says that from the depth of the Amazons to the cafes of Paris, women signal interest with a remarkably similar sequence of expressions as she shared at Psychology Today. It goes like this. First, the woman smiles at her admirer and lifts her eyebrow in a swift, jerky motion as she opens her eyes wide to gaze at him. Then she drops her eyelids, tilts her head down and to the side, and looks away. Frequently, she also covers her face with her hands, giggling nervously as she retreats behind her palms. This sequential flirting gesture is so distinctive that Evil Ebbs felt, I hope I'm saying that right, was convinced it is innate, a human female courtship ploy that evolved eons ago to signal sexual interest. So watch for the signals. I mentioned it before in past videos about how to tell someone is attracted to you. That's more of a signal of attraction, not necessarily what women are attracted to. Look for someone in your league. Men and women are attracted to people who are as attractive as they are. If you go for someone roughly equally to you in attractiveness, it avoids two things. If they are much better looking than you, you are worried about them going off and having affairs. He says if they are much less attractive, you are worried that they could do better. Present yourself as high status. In 1969, University of North Carolina sociologist Glenn Elder found that looks and wealth tend to find one another, namely, good-looking women tended to settle down with less attractive but wealthier men. Again, another reason I tell you, looks don't matter as much as you think they do. Since then, it's become a well-confirmed finding in the social sciences. Most recently, a 2010 study found that men pictured with a silver Bentley Continental GT were way more attractive than those pictured with a red Ford Fiesta. Saint and a 2014 study found that men pictured in luxury apartments were more attractive than those in a control group. Why the attraction to resources? Evolutionary psychologists say it's because women want a mate to provide for them. Look older. Psychologists call it the George Clooney effect. As the 2010 study of 3,770 people showed, women often preferred older men as they become more financially independent. They like older guys even more. We think this suggests greater financial independence gives women more confidence in partner choices and attracts them to powerful, attractive older men. Evolutionary psychologists say that younger women and older men often pair up, because while fertility only lasts from puberty to menopause in women, it starts at puberty and can extend long into midlife for many men, and they have a greater opportunity to accumulate status and resources. Next one is grow a light beard. While some claim the beard trend is over, the The research says it's not according to a 2013 Australian study. The most attractive beard length is heavy stubble, which comes after about 10 days of growth. Yeah, and you know what? Right now, at this point in time, June 2022, it might be a mustache because of the new Top Gun movie. Just saying, facial hair correlates not only with maturity and masculinity, but also with dominance and aggression. An intermediate level of beardedness is most attractive. It only takes a bit of maintenance to keep that 10-day beard all the time. I actually do agree with that. Also, the older I get, the more I'm attracted to facial hair. I remember in high school, I really didn't like facial hair at all. And I was really into, the baby face and clean-shaven men. But the older I get, I do like facial hair, and I still like clean-shaven. But we love a little 5 o'clock shadow build muscle, but not too much. A 2007 University of California at Los Angeles study found that women are more likely to have short-term relationships with guys who have big muscles. Sexual characteristics like masculinity are cues of genes that increase offspring viability or reproductive success. Less muscular men were thought to be better fit for long-term relationships. You know what, guys? When I did my street interviews and I was talking to those Italian girls, one of them said, you date the guy with the six-pack. You marry the man with the dad bod. That's kind of funny. The next one is be kind. One of the most robust findings in psychology is the halo effect, a bias where you unconsciously take one aspect of somebody as a proxy for their overall character. It is why we think beautiful people are good at their jobs, even when they aren't. Yeah, pretty privileged. It's a thing. The halo effect also works in other ways too. A 2014 Chinese study found that people who had positive personality traits like kindness and honesty were rated as more attractive than those with negative personality traits like being evil or mean. Even though beauty is an assessment of fitness value, there is no reason why assessment of fitness needs to be purely physical. Being kind makes you look like you'd be a stable, worthwhile mate. Yep, totally agree. Talk about your emotions. Oh, the manosphere is not going to like this one. Contrary to the 1950s ideal of the aloof breadwinner, women are into men who can talk about their feelings. When men are vulnerable, women find them more desirable. Both emotionally and sexually, being vulnerable will not hurt men's masculinity. Just the opposite, emotionally well-rounded men are more desirable to women and are ultimately likely to be emotionally stable and better long-term partners than men who are closed up and unwilling to share intimate parts of their lives. I've done an entire video about vulnerability when it comes to attracting women and just in general, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to vulnerability with men. So definitely be sure to go check that out. I'm not going to get super far in detail with it here because this video is already way too long. Wear red. Okay, Hallie and I reacted to an article, and one of the things it said to do was wear red. And both of us were kind of like, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy wear red. And anytime I've seen a guy wear red, it was always like the black suit with the red tie or red bow tie, which neither one of us liked the look of, so the red thing is interesting. But I'm going to read this, a 2010 cross-cultural study with participants from China, England, Germany, and the US found that women are most attracted to men wearing red. It's been a symbol of status since at least the Roman times, when the most powerful men were called koshinati. Am I saying that right? The ones who wear red works for women too. So I know for a fact, red works for women. Men love a woman in a red dress. I think that's like the most polarizing thing a woman can wear. So it's interesting that women feel the same about men. I don't know if I feel that way. I need to see a man wearing red. Okay. That wraps up the article. I would say I agreed with almost all of those. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below and just your, general opinion on everything I've talked about in the video today. I would love for you guys to share your personal experiences. What do you find attracts women the most? I think this is something that will continue to change, but it always somehow finds its way back to our evolutionary past in some capacity, which is interesting to think about considering how much things have actually changed. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you like this video or found it helpful. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.